Quick question, and I can never remember this. Virginia and I have this question. Where can we go? Is it on parcel Google or on the national website that you can see an actual parcel setbacks, not the general guide for those, but a map?
There's not really a map. There is zoning code.
Right.
So if you're the zoning code, you see.
And just look at that, based on code for that parcel. I could have sworn. Yeah, anyone had shown me.
Yeah. I've never, I don't know what that is either, but I've never.
Not John, showed me that. Also, a long time ago. And he said, oh, just a here, you can see it. And it seems like it was one of the neighbors. So Jimmy and I were going through the parcel group.
Yeah.
See, it's not there.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I injected once. He's going to text me the 17th because I asked him. I said, what do you do there? Zoning code. I was like,
There's no.
there's no shortcut, unfortunately. There's no shortcut. That's how next. I saw your mama yesterday.
I heard that.
I said, tell Teddy, ask Teddy where your figs are.
Where is what?
Where her figs were. But, yeah, she got really good apple at the last year. Yes, and it too.
I think she was very appreciative. She was very, very, very appreciative.
Are you gonna draw? Or just
Yeah, I'm gonna put the screen down here and it looks terrible, I know. I'm either gonna turn that off, for our start, which is what I may do. Hey, what's going on? Wasabi.
Super excited about this.
You are?
Yep.
Good.
I had to give it all back.
So, my neighbors, my dog's like,
Uh-huh. She's not that big.
theirs wasn't either, but that's July.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I saw a recall days, because I get all these rescue side things. There was a Chihuahua next rescue these puppies, and then of course they're gone. They just, because it was some kind of scruffy, the other breed was something scruffy with it. Yeah.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Hello.
Just put it on.
How's it going?
Doing great. How are you? Long time no see. You keeping busy? What?
I said, I bet that's what
The holidays are over.
Yeah, somebody here. Let me know. I don't want to hide your face. Can you get
How are you?
your arms back?
Yeah, I'm Anna. Greer. Yeah, nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm with the Kirby group.
All right.
It's like, no, it's a chart.
All-star front row here. What's going
It's like a reunion
I
around
know,
here.
it is.
start.
Way to wake us up out there, Ted.
I like to start listing presentations out there so it gets some attention.
Yeah.
So I'm about trying to get this thing.
You're clubbing there.
It was a mess. It was a mess.
It's pretty good this week. So also like you said, flowers. I saw every time. I'm also not being
Yeah, it's just still learning. I'm bringing these, so learning new things every day.
I didn't want to here.
Well, I was with them for about 6 months.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, I got my license.
Sorry.
Say you're with them for a while, then you break.
No, I've been with the Kirby
Okay, we're going to get started here, and I apologize for the use of the microphone, but that's for our folks at home and those outreach. So today we're going to be going over marketing calendars. I'm Teddy Pins. For those that don't know me, I've been at Village for 15 or so years. I have felt like I've done everything a bit the wrong way in an effort to improve and grow to find best practices, which are always improving with the influence and assistance of others and how they've done things. So I can tell you I have, with respect to my marketing experience, that I had tried doing things consistently, and it sort of grew from there, right? I was doing a newsletter, and we started trying and then doing that monthly, and started getting into, then we got into a client event, and so we did our client event, and what I recognized in real estate, and I love these two chairs here, they was if I didn't put a system to it, it was going to run me, and that went for just about everything, from checklists to listing presentations to buyer presentations to closing gifts, and what I hope to share with you today is more than just marketing calendars. I want to kind of share some marketing ideas that I've used and have you all have a chance to do that too. So we can go into that. I'd like to start today with a few input. I'm just going to, for an effort to not have to warm this thing up and turn it back on. We'll do that. Let's do that. I don't want to start with this guy. So I'd be interested in what things have you all done, or what have you found is working or not working with respect to consistency in your marketing? Newsletter, okay. Working or not working? Working, okay. Not working for people? Anybody, is this challenging for anybody to get this out consistently at the same time each month?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. What else? That's it.
I'm a quarterly touch with my people.
Quarterly touch?
Yeah, like in the spring, I send them flower seeds.
Okay.
In the fall, I do something or a holiday.
Okay.
And those other two orders I
Okay.
later.
Okay.
When we're talking about working or not working, are we focusing on being able to get it done or getting results, or both?
Right now, we're not really getting into results. That would be kind of a different iteration on this class. Is more, it's just being consistent and getting things done.
Everything.
Challenging. Yeah.
Newsletter really tough,
Being
email newsletter
consistent
really
is
tough.
challenging.
Yes.
Yeah.
Were you sharing some other things of marketing pieces that you've challenged to have you consistent with?
Like my coach wants me to consistently do hard copy newsletter, email copy, every
Yeah.
2 weeks alternating. Both of those have been tough for me to stay on top of.
Yep. Any other things that you've wanted to do that you've had a challenge incorporating into your marketing schedule? And yes, I know you're in
Well, social media.
social media.
There are lots of ways to schedule social media,
Yep.
but then just, making a plan of what you're going to put on social media.
Yep.
Yeah, it's too broad. There's so much to share, and there's no
Yeah.
basics.
Yes.
Consistent geo-farming also, like localized, neighborhoods.
Say farming?
mailings.
Yep.
And Ted, I would expand on what Scott said.
Yes.
Farming, I would had a program where I was targeting, actually it was targeting the village. Scott was the recipient of it, and I just did a really unique piece, card, and it went out every month. But now I need to revisit it, I don't have any plan,
Okay.
but it does work. I did get distance off of it.
Yeah. Anything else? Here? This is a great list to build upon. We're gonna cover these items here today and some more. So I wanted to be sure that we at least touched on the pieces that you're having challenge with, and what I would say with respect to marketing is that I believe that anything done consistently works. I truly believe if you are struggling with generating leads, if you were to stand on this corner with your sign and simply said, call me, or I'm here to serve, or I'm ready to serve, or just stand there with your sign, at some point, if you were there every day, somebody's going to stop and ask the question, right? It's just you start to see the same people. They're selling the contributor on the same corner. You start to feel relationship because they're just touching you and touching you and touching you in a way that is appropriate, but most importantly, consistent, right? And so I think today is not as much about me sharing or creating a marketing plan for you, but really you taking the things that you feel that you can begin with and put it into a systematic format, okay? And that's what we're here to do today. We're going to talk about marketing ideas and different ways to touch and get referrals and all those type of things, but really today is about putting together a calendar that you can utilize to give you more consistency with this program. Make sense? Okay. So I'm going to pass out. I'm going to just hand these to you, and I want you to pass them down the line, if you don't mind. Let's see here. Marketing calendars. Why didn't I pass these out at the beginning? I know there's enough here, so we probably have overflow. Just pass them back. And if we don't, we know where to make more. So one of the things, and I know you're all going to breeze ahead and see what's in that, and I'm going to explain a lot of details to that. Do we need more? Do we have some coming back? Everybody got one?
I need what,
Coming back? You bet. So the first piece that I've passed out is a sample of a marketing calendar that I have used. And I created that. I am certain, as with all things, there are better and different versions of that. But I want to kind of explain how I use this and how I generated this. And we're going to go through each month because I want you to get a chance to share ideas and look at things that may be consistent for your business, because I think it's important that you create a marketing plan that works for you, and most importantly, that's manageable. So I know what happens for me when I would attend the courses and they're giving me ideas and instruction is that pretty quickly I get the white haze and I am out because I feel overwhelmed and I feel incapable to do what they're doing. And the truth is, they're not doing half of what they're showing you. Okay? I truly believe that most people that are instructors or teachers, they're sharing with you best practices. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what they're doing every day, all day. So what I would suggest is try to do 1% more next month than you did the one before. Pick one thing. If it's getting the newsletter out, fine. This calendar is just going to be for the newsletter. And then we can incorporate other things. Okay? So you'll notice in January, when I started, I looked at, one of the first things I was doing was a newsletter. And what I was finding was that I was having a hard time coming up with content. I didn't know what to say, and it felt rushed or reactive of me getting it out. And so it kind of became the piece that, like many things in our business, instead of working on the business or working in the business, and it's important that this gets some priority and some time blocking, like Bobby would say, right? So part of the way that we did that is I figured I would work backwards. And Bobby was sort of the master of planning out the entire education calendar for the year, so she knew who was going to speak, where, when, and that's what we've done for this year too. And so what I started looking at was, let's start filling in the holes of the things that I knew I was doing. So the first thing was, I was doing a newsletter, and I wanted to look at when was the best time for that to go out. For me, I picked the third week of the month. And you can see that it says eBlast, week 3. So I basically broke my calendar into 4 weeks, and I tried to pick something potentially that happened every week. Okay? It doesn't mean that touched all people in my database, but that was the intent, was to pick something every week. And so when we looked at, and these dates in here are just placeholders, by the way, so you can get more specific to when that is. But the first thing was in week 3 was looking at, okay, when is your newsletter going to go out? And then scheduling time either the week or 2 weeks prior that you have to generate content. Now, in true Bobby fashion, what she would tell you is that, and I agree, is like, it always blows my mind that people are surprised when Christmas gets here, or that Valentine's comes and Mother's Day is coming. Like, the beauty is there's no mystery to any of this. It's all coming, and it's already on the calendar. And so don't feel overwhelmed that you can't be prepared for that, because it's easier, obviously, if you just plan backwards. And so that's what the intent of this is to be. So in January, we put through an e-blast. Then I started what was called a core partnership meeting. It was a mastermind that I created amongst my vendors. And it was a way in which that I could bring together what I thought were thought leaders in the industry. I brought my inspector, my photographer, a guy that makes cookies, my AV guy, my mortgage lenders, I brought both of them, and you get the idea. It started with maybe 10 to 15 people. Just send an email, kick it off. We did that every other month. You'll see that in here. Core partnership meeting, it's in January, it's in March. We did that every other month. We started like 8:30, we picked a conference room. It was a great way to share ideas because you're all small business owners. You're all struggling with similar things. So in January, we picked tax tips. And I had my financial advisor there, and he would go over some of the best practices and things to be prepared for that may be changing for this coming year. Okay? To me, I thought that was an easy and interesting way to get deeper relationships with these people, because one of the things that I believe, and again, we're going to go over some marketing ideas as well, and not to overwhelm you, but to give you ideas that, hey, this might speak to me or my business or my culture or my people. And that is I recognized that I was looking for channel accounts, right? I didn't want to go after onesie-twosie home sellers and buyers. So whose channel accounts? Can you give me some ideas on that? What would be a channel account?
There's a lender.
A lender. Yep.
Builder.
Builder.
Title.
Title company. They work with a lot of realtors, potentially. It's always interesting to me trying to get picked out of that list. Who talks to the most people in the industry? Who's out humping the phone and producing the most people that you know? What industries?
Seems like it'd be lending.
What's that?
Seems like it'd be lending.
Lenders. Yeah,
Insurance providers.
there you go. Corporations, reload. They may not have a reload group. You can go after who's involved in assisting in you moving here. don't assume just because they're moving here and it hit the journal that you could be a second resource or someone for them. Tax professionals. Who needs to sell a house? Divorce attorneys. Have you been through one? I'm so sorry, as have I. But you have insight and intelligence and care about how to manage that process that maybe other people don't. Okay? Who else?
Probate?
Yeah.
Probate? Yeah. You gotta start thinking differently, in my opinion, because I think we're all going after the same people, and it's about relationships, but start creating relationships with people that can give you more than one person. And I don't necessarily care that they have other realtors, but when you start a mastermind group, they start to see this person's serious about their business. And I always look at things that, to me, sometimes every month is daunting. And it's too much for other people, too. So every other month, I think, is a good thing. With something like this, where you're going to invite these people, get in relationship with them first before you get into what I would consider this, to invite them to a mastermind in sort of permission-based marketing. Questions about that? Now, with everything in here, what isn't on here is that there is a slot in the calendar, however long in advance, that I felt that I needed to prepare. Right? So I had to send the email. And I had to pick somebody that was going to bring the breakfast. You don't have to do the breakfast. I mean, we had name tag. I tend to overdo it sometimes. And so that's really where it's created some paralysis, where it's because I think it has to be something greater than it does. Just get together and meet, right? Okay. We'll come back to some other events and things that we integrated there. So that's the core partner mastermind. New Year's obviously every year is coming. I always believe that Christmas is overdone a bit, and so with respect to gifts and cards and invitations, so look at alternative ways in which you can touch and reach them. I think after the first of the year is a nice way to do that, and so you'll see there's silly things in here. We tissue a Merry Christmas, Happy No Flu Year, 5 reasons to resolve to use a real estate professional. We hope you start the new year with a pop or soda. You know, I used to be so against cheesy stuff, photos on business cards, wrapping your car, all of that stuff. And I think in a lot of ways we have to consider that they get a bit desensitized to all the same stuff. So being different is not a bad thing. Just pick your lane a little bit with it and decide that that's going to be kind of your thing. Okay? And then a workshop, a lunch and learn. I will tell you the workshop on here, the lunch and learn, was something that became ambitious for me to pull off. But I know other agents that have done it, and I encourage you to do it, and they did it primarily through Facebook and creating like a first-time homebuyer seminar. Do it at a library. Has anyone done or led one of those? Yep. You have?
Yeah.
How did it go? How did you do it?
Well, my wife works for Cumberland Heights.
Yep.
Mutual Center, and they have lunch and learns. And I was invited, so I brought a lender friend with me.
Right.
And he went through just some of the basic loan types, what's needed for it, and I went through the buyer process and a little bit about selling. And it was easy. It's like doing a buyer presentation, sort of, in some ways.
Right. And you know what to remember is it's not about the person. It's about who they know. People know people know people, and so it's really about giving them an invitation to invite other people into the conversation. Okay? All right, February, month 2, community event. So I would look at other things that were going on because I wanted to attend an event or be a part of something, right? So that a lot of times there's events going on at parks and movies in the park or other things like that. So community event, the Antiques and Garden Show is a good time. And if I would look at ways in which I could piggyback promotion for myself off other people's events. So I could go to an event such as Movies in the Park, which you'll see is in here, I think, closer to the spring. And then I might bring a wagon that's branded with my stuff, and I have water bottles and snacks. And in the water bottle, I have my koozie or my boot koozie with my boozy, and it has my name on it, right? And I get those made for $1, and it's in the shape of a boot. It's got my logo. It says "Buy, Sell, Dance" in the back. It's got my phone number. They're hit, right? And so then when once I got those produced, then I went to T-shirts and I rolled a T-shirt, put it in there, and that became part of my closing gift, right? Small scale. Again, I just started picking up things other people were doing, and I was looking at ways that I could do something a little bit different. I don't really love branded water because I think people just dispose of it. So I've never got into branded water. I think it's a nice touch in a corporate setting, but I looked at something that they may keep. And the boot shape of the koozie was kitschy, and it works for Nashville. So you just Google boot koozie and you're off to the races. So February, community events. Then we looked at pay it forward door treats. Valentine's Day, I would love to see us in a transaction together. Rose or red, ones with heart. Just silly things, right? But look at integrating what we call pop-by gifts, whereas to key customers, one of the things that we used to do too is we would get a questionnaire created. You could do that in Google Forms. So when you start working with a new client, you can get information and anniversaries and what's their favorite candy bar, what's their favorite coffee, favorite movie. At some point they start to feel this is silly, and then we get into the fun. And then at the end we ask, who do you know, or would you recommend, or who do you use as your tax professional? Who is your insurance agent? All of a sudden now I've got a name and number of somebody to call, and we have someone in common that they may be more receptive to take my appointment or my meeting because they want to be respectful to their client too. Make sense? Any of this resonating? Possibles? Okay, good. The Girl Scout cookies, the thin it drops off. So, I think you can get into other pop-by gifts, but we looked at doing giveaways and doing that sometimes every month. We tend to get to be doing that every other month. There was also budgetary concerns, so don't think by any means that any of this really has to cost money. There's a free printers here, there's easy things and cheap things that you can do here, and most importantly, I think, is working the phone. So just as part of a marketing calendar is like you putting together your call schedule for the week of who am I going to call, when, where, why, and how. So Monday I'm going to call my top 20 list. Tuesday I'm going to call divorce attorneys. I don't know any divorce attorneys. Google. National Business Journal Book of Lists. The Book of Lists, if you're not familiar with it, it's a book of lists of companies that do things in this town. Public companies, automotive, HCA, top divorce attorneys, all those kind of things. So great resource. Again, February newsletter, you'll see we're saying EOS here as well, evidence of success. So you'll see once we get into March, we started doing some mailing. And then in the mailing, you'll see EOS, that's evidence of success. And so one of my lender referrals, one of his practices was simply sending out a letter of an evidence of success or a postcard of some way that you had a great experience with a client or customer. And I don't believe that you have to wait to have a closing in which to do that. Simply talk about an open house that you volunteered at that was great. And you just be assumptive that, they just know that may be your listing, and you're just saying how well it was, and you got to know the neighbors and community and things like that. The other is letters of the heart. We'll come back to that in April. Questions so far? All right. March, pet party. So one of the things that we look to do is there's 5K runs, there's other dog events that are going on, having a yappy hour at Tailgate Brewery. We looked at bars that were dog friendly, so if that's part of your thing. Who has dogs in here? Okay. Do you ever who goes to the dog park? How often would you say go?
Try to get there weekly.
Weekly?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great. Consistency, right? So let's start, we don't have kids maybe, we can't maybe, kind of leverage the kids as much, but we in the school, for solicitation, but you can the dog park. So tie a dog bone to a water bottle in your koozie with a free piece of paper that you've printed here that has your photo and the dog's photo, and it says, me and Bobo love this park and live in this neighborhood, and we want to continue to support our neighborhood, and we'd love your support. That's it, right? I'm a realtor in this neighborhood. We live and love it here, and we'd love to share it on with you, whatever, right? But I did it, and it surprisingly works, and it's a great place to start conversation. You already have something in common. The dog park, secret weapon. That place is amazing to do this. If you don't have a dog, maybe you can borrow someone's. So that would we start doing in spring. Of course, we'll see things like that are coming with that. Social events, core partnership meeting. You'll see that we had that again, and we looked at entrepreneur frustrations. E-blast, newsletters. Again, week 3, consistently week 3. And then we looked at what day of the week is the best to send that. Does anyone have experience or opinions on when to send newsletters as far as the day and the time? Thoughts on that? So the research, yes?
I typically do Tuesday.
Yep.
Because people have sort of back after the weekend. Mondays a little revving the engine. It's usually like around 8:45 to 9:15 when
Yep.
you're first logging on and checking email.
Yep. So, yeah, I don't know necessarily the formal research may have changed a bit, but I will tell you the ones that I did was I looked at doing, or we did Thursdays after lunch because we felt like that was a time in which people were at the after lunch kind of, maybe they'll get on Facebook or they'll get on their email and they're more open to other things. But consistency is really the key to all of this. Picking the day and time that you do it and working it backwards. So scheduling yourself time to grab content. Do not make this thing up every month, right? Give it the same format. Choose what the format's going to be. You know, we did radius raves at the beginning. You know, we had a couple of bullet points there, and then we had new listings, and we had like a spotlight or feature. We didn't feature events because I found it hard to pick which events and format it. So I tried to do something that was consistent and easy. And you know, these things are outsourceable as well, but just make it manageable that you can do it. Okay, I know that Whit, who used to work with me, he has, just let's do this. Very reasonable, it's consistent. He's now doing a monthly happy hour. He does it at the same place at Embers in 12 South. It started with one person that showed up with a client. Guess what? He now has business. He's been doing that thing for a while now. At first, he was only buying one drink. He could barely afford one drink for people. Then he got, you know, maybe the lender came or the insurance person came, and they would participate in that. Even if that becomes your one thing, but you do it consistently, that's my encouragement to all of you with any of this. Is don't do it if you can't do it consistently. Because just doing it once, I don't care what it is, it just doesn't really work. Okay? All right, so we move into March to April. We looked at we did community events. We looked at giveaways for Easter. Dog park marketing, again, administrative pro day. I started looking at alternative days that we can do things to support different groups. Mother's Day, Father's Day. You'll see that we've included that in here. Severe Park Fest. Start looking at activities and events that you could piggyback on for free, right? Movies in the park, and it's like you're not going to bring your 10 by 10 and set up next to the sponsors, okay? But I don't think that they have much fault if you dragged in your wagon and giving away some free water that they're going to pay $2 for. Cool. Seed mailings and drop-offs. Virginia mentioned she sends the flower seeds and packets. You can buy those really cheap. You can even make those self-mailers. So you can put the stamp right on that and put a little introduction to send mailing seeds. I think it's a nice way to recognize moms. If you're looking at Vanderbilt, interns and move-ins, that's another market for you. You can ask to get into one page in the packets for interns that are coming in. And you'll see it says, I think you have to complete by May of each year. Again, we did a core partnership mastermind, so you can see we looked at professional standards. And I just made it an open conversation. I would just have kind of a topic to kick us off. I'd sometimes start with what we're grateful for, and then we kick into our topic. Nurses Week. We need some more nurses like you. You got it. Habitat for Humanity, leveraging those activities as well for you to participate in a habitat build. Mother's Day, open house tulips for moms, home buyers programs for single moms. Again, things that you have connection to, I feel that you can obviously speak much greater to. And I think sometimes we forget, when Bobby starts and people are saying like, well, I don't know, where am I going to get business? Well, what do you like to do? What are things you're into? Well, I'm not into anything. I don't know. Whatever it is, if it's music, if you're not into anything, just go to meetup groups and start looking at things that you could become interested in. You want to learn French or Italian, or you want to play chess, or you want to tour the Frisk. Meetup groups are fantastic. Has anybody done meetup groups? Yeah? And how would you see, or have you done ways in which at a meetup group you could engage or turn that into a business opportunity?
Well, one of the ones I go to, really main meetup group, is a luncheon already, and for like gay men in Cold Springs, and so I go to that they do it like twice a month.
Yeah.
And so just going consistently and always being there, and it's allowed me to like just meet new people and develop relationships with them, coffee or lunch some other time, get to know them, and
Yep. Excellent. And then I encourage that when you go to these places, you have to use this app called iTalk, and then they talk, and you have this thing called a conversation, and it's really amazing how this works. This is the best app I've ever found for real estate. You got it? So if you ever need just a reminder, you can put one right on the main side of your phone. It's iTalk. Right? You can make an icon that sits right on your phone that says iTalk. And just encourage conversation in ways that are beyond the typical, right? It doesn't have to be sports or weather or those type of things. I often use, after, how did you get involved in this group? Or how did you hear about this? A good transition point for me was what part of town do you live? Oh, I know that sounds weird, but I sell real estate and I'm always interested, just slid in there, right? I sell real estate, but I'm always interested in where people live and why they choose. Like, what do you love about your neighborhood? I don't get back to I sell real estate ever again in that first conversation. But they know when we get a conversation started about community and restaurants and, do you have dogs? Oh, you have dogs? Do you have kids or what? Start getting into learning about those neighborhoods and what community events. Do they do any events around there? So you can get involved in that. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Cool. We see movies in the park, so we'd also do a teen happy hour. So that was something that we did consistently. So we did that at the same day and time each month. That would be one that often got pushed, but it was on the calendar. Father's Day, we did earplugs. So instead of the flower seeds, and we did earplugs. It could be, now it's feeling a little passé in the sense of it being, cliche and stereotypical, but it was kind of fun that maybe, dads might want earplugs because you want to tune things out or you want to focus on whatever it is that makes you happy. So, just another touch. We loved the earplugs, and we got great feedback on that. So, if you're looking at Pride events, 4th of July, you're doing different opportunities for that as far as sparklers, fireworks, flags. I looked at that as kind of a localized thing as far as within my neighborhood where I could do something that had connection to that. But to me, it's like even if you just did what I would believe is doing comps, right? Like sending out your comps and putting that in your newsletter is very, very important. So integrating that into your calendar of when I'm going to send comps. But for me, a lot of these things became relationship builders in addition to new opportunities. So I would integrate some of this into my farming exercises, which we'll talk about a bit here. Let's see, interns arrival, dropping off welcome packets to that. We also did packets specific to industries as far as like the music management companies, right? So we would talk to the music management companies and find out how often they have people coming, and if you have people coming, what would be helpful for you as an introduction to your people for Nashville. These are not relocation people. Someone comes to the city and they want to show the city off. Well, I had pre-made folders and packets that simply had like relocation information. What's about neighborhoods? Just put links in there of cool stuff. Here's a quick map of neighborhoods and put together a little packet of things that may help them. And if I could be of any assistance or information, give me a call. Is anybody have been targeting corporations or sectors like this? It's really fantastic. This I feel like it gives a lot of purpose on those days you're wondering, who do I call? Because it just sparks fire from there. When you pick, and preferably it may be something where you have some experience or affinity to that industry. Right? Maybe that was your former wife or your spouse's, or you had an interest in that or something of that nature. Okay. You'll see in here again, we color-coded this, and then we had the e-blast again, the mailing was the evidence of success, and then we had the workshop. This was a hell schedule to keep, and I had assistants to do this. So this is really ambitious, but I wanted you at least to be able to see and get some ideas based on these type of things. Tomato Art Festival, bring your wagon again potentially. Back to school social events, what can you get involved in there? Could you be the coach of the intramural sports or the kids sports? Community events of Williamson County Fair. We get into, then we always, the other consistent things that we did was, we did Titans magnets, and it had the SEC teams on there, and my letter said this. It said, no matter who you root for, or even if you care about sports, you better know the dates to plan your weddings and funerals, because it's important in this town. And so I would try to take myself off the hook as being like a sports person, or that this even matters, but it just matters because people are paying attention to this stuff. So I think it was kind of fun. And then I would also send out, I did basically 3 mailings a year. That was it. Because I couldn't stand mail. I don't even like my own mailbox. I want to cut it down. So I don't really love mail, and there's very little things of value that you could send me in my mailbox that I want to see. So I sent out the sports magnets. I sent out an annual magnet, because believe it or not, I go into the house and there it is on the fridge. It was the way that I found to be an affordable touch. And I would send out that calendar at the beginning of the year, and then I would send out HUDs, copies of the closing statement from every closing I had from that year. And I would just say that this is a handy tool. Before you go digging for it, here it is for you. And I would email it as well. Everybody loves it, right? They just love that you're thinking ahead of things that they might need or want. Questions about that? Closing statement. Does anybody send out closing statements annually? You have good feedback on that? Mm-hmm. Yeah? No feedback? Yeah. So the beauty to sending that out is then what? What do you get to do when you send something out? You call them. Did you get it? You didn't? Oh my gosh. I forgot you're on my list. It gives you a chance to send that out, right? All of this is just leverage points to call them versus, I heard you're looking at houses, or how are the kids? I saw you on Facebook, right? It feels a little trite to me, so I try to find connecting points of what may make sense. So those were my mailings. That's all we did. And you'll see in December, there's week 4, that was the prep time for yearly calendars with the HUDs. And in there I would include a funny quote at the top of my letter about taxes. And sometimes I would include top 5 tax deductions, and then with a big disclaimer that I don't want to talk about. Okay. Looked at lunch and learns as far as like with my financial advisor, bringing people in to do like a casual one with that. October, we did an Oktoberfest. Bring people in, we did a photo booth with pets, and people tend to like that, but it's a lot of coordination. Events, I preferred events that I show up with the wagon and the water and I'm good to go. So my time was producing koozies, boozies. That's it. I made boozies, I had a stack of them, they're light, you can shove a ton of them in a suitcase or in a duffel bag, you can use them at open houses, everything gets a boozy, all the time. There's never enough boozies out there, it's just what I think is great, easy leverage marketing. Yes?
So when you're taking your wagon through there, it's like, boozy, how much the boozy?
Boozy, sometimes I would, it depended what my feeling or my attitude was that day, like sometimes I would feel a little more sparky, but otherwise, I would say, can I offer you free water? Right? Can I offer you free water? And they'd say, sure. I'd be like, cool, I'm a local realtor, just love to support our neighborhood, I live and love this place too. That's it. But the dog one, I did the attached dog bone. The attached dog bone, Kirkland's, the ribbon tie's pretty nice on the end of the dog bone, and I did the little thing that had me and my dog's picture. And it said that I live in this neighborhood, we love it, kind of thing too. We'd love to meet you. And the dog makes an easy introduction. Let's see. Haunted houses and open houses. I have done, people do themey stuff with social media around there, but again, I really believe in kind of I try to create relationship-based things. So I would trick-or-treat at the same places, or maybe I bring the boozy with the water for the parents, right? Or it has like a beer in it or something exciting to get them there. I think one of these says, I forget where it is, but there's another. There it is. One of these were like, we know you've had enough of this. You're ready for. I think it was a teacher's day. You've had enough apples. How about some wine? It's time for wine. So, looking at those things, I think schools and teachers are a good way to honor and do that in a way that's just sort of serving and complimentary rather than kind of pressing on that. November was this is when we really started getting ready for October. We would send out invitations. The one event that I did that took work and money was my annual client appreciation party. And I would do that on the Thursday before Thanksgiving. It was our Give Thanks party. And I would have name tags that said, my name is, and I'm thankful for. And so many clients would write my name is what they're thankful for. That's cheesy. But like they would do it, and that's cute. And I would give out pumpkin pies. I was one of the first people that started doing the pumpkin pies from Costco. You call in advance, you tell them don't put the sticker on it. You get your own stickers made. If you don't want to produce stickers yet, just throw the Avery labels through the printer, put your logo, put your face and your name and your number, that I love you and appreciate you, and I would write on the front of the pie with a Sharpie. When I started, I would deliver those. So I delivered those the week of Thanksgiving. So at the client party, which started kind of small, and I would get sponsorship for, it was just a chance for us to gather, have some drinks and some food, and to give thanks. And I would do a toast or a speech of some sort. Like, you got them there, they deserve to hear from you, and a piece of gratitude. It's not about the gift. It's really not even about the party. What is it about? Yeah, the relationship, the people. It's about the invitation. That's it. You thought of me to attend, you invited me to go, hopefully for the right budget, not everybody comes, and it was really, and they won't. And so if you plan an event, you invite 100 people, and you get 30 RSVPs, plan for 18 to come. I promise you, order the food accordingly. It's the nature of events. But the week of Thanksgiving, I found, was like the magic time. It's before Christmas. I'm not offending anybody with a spiritual holiday, and people tend to be home, and they are really happy, right? The week of Thanksgiving, people are happy, and even if they work, they don't really, it's easy. And you'd love to meet them at work. So I would call in advance, and I would send an email, giving out pumpkin pies, I'm going to deliver that. Could I come by your office or your home, and what day works for you? And so those first 3 days, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, again, this was nice because it was consistent every year. Thanksgiving's on a Thursday, right? Isn't it always on a Thursday? So the Thursday before Thanksgiving would be my client party. the week of Thanksgiving, and I was doing the pumpkin pie delivery before I started the client party. That was my way when I had 2 or 10 closings. I could deliver 10 pies, they're $5.99 a piece, and they're blown away. And I was always transparent, like, where the hell did you get this big pie? I got it at Costco, but I've taste tested. This is the best pie you can buy. And it is. Like, it really is. So, I would do that. I started with that. Then it became too many to deliver. Then I had my dad helping me deliver. And then it would get to like 60, 70 pies, and delivering in 3 days, I was done. Having refrigerators and deliver, it was really tough. So some people would give them away at the client party. So I started doing that, and I would give away kettle corn. So I have a guy, and I know I'm shooting a lot of ideas at you, and this is about the calendar as well, but I want you to look at ways in which there's fun ideas and ways to incorporate that made sense to me. So I liked kettle corn. When I got to the pies, I could get a bag of kettle corn from a guy named Ace, and I would stick my sticker on there, and they'd get a bag of kettle corn because I knew that would be shared. That's the only things I did that were consumables that were branded. But it wasn't, I didn't pay for a bag or anything. I got a roll of stickers, and I stuck my Radius sticker on there. That's it. Okay? But that was our consistent party, and I felt like it was a good time of year that we could pull that off. And it worked flawlessly. It was a lot of work, but I loved it, and people really appreciated it. You could get into doing the Christmas cards. I think it's the time of year, but I covered all that, I felt, with my Thanksgiving, and then the kickoff of the new year. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Questions about this so far? You can do fun things. You can see some ideas in there regarding Christmas and different theme-based things. I also passed out to you. I got one myself here. I also passed out to you some ideas on just an extra view. This is yours here.
Mine.
Okay. So different ideas. This is just kind of a list of different ideas and avenues of places and possibilities here. I love the Valentine's Day blowout. I've seen other people do that one where invite your key customers. Doesn't have to all be ladies. Bring them to the blog. It's a lot of fun. The blowout parties. And you negotiate those things in advance. Now again, you always need to be thinking if you're bringing business to a place like WIT does to Embers, at some point there's a reciprocal nature to this relationship that I'm bringing people to you, but that you're kind of my home base. And so, again, you're going to use that iTalk app. You're going to make friends with the bartenders and with the serving staff and all those people. And just the fact that you're that person, like that you're there consistently, they recognize like that you're kind of the source. Like you're our person. You're our realtor. We need somebody. Okay? All right. Meal for the Move, farm postcard, other things we did regarding like closing gifts, we would have that in advance, prepackaged as far as when they did new construction, move baskets. So if they bought new construction, they would get a step stool that was inside out with toilet paper and cleaning supplies and a bow. And I, again, put the sticker on there and a card, out the door, ready to go. You can get those baskets for $60 from a place called Sunshine Shop. So, with these things that we talked about, the only one that we really hadn't covered that got integrated into this was social media. And social media, we had another schedule for social media that basically followed this order. It looks like this, but it was broken down into the column headings being Facebook, Instagram, what else? We dropped off Twitter, LinkedIn, like all that looked like great ideas, and we wanted and thought we needed to be a part of all of that, but that quickly became overwhelming. So at first it was even overwhelming for me to go and get into Instagram. So like pick a lane, be Facebook if that's more of where your audience is. And we put together a plan of what that would be. So they really, what I hear typically is you should do 3 personal posts to 1 business post. And so it should be things about your life or what you're doing or in the community or you're working an open house or check out this new thing. Or so we would break it out into, it may be something community oriented, it may be style oriented, like what are the new colors, check out this bathroom. but put it together where it speaks to you, but it's easy and consistent. There is so much content on hows, right? On styles and places. If you're not sure where, like most of the mass media isn't reporting on things out of hows, and so you can pull from there. There's Realtor.com resources for that. But I needed something consistent where we could pull, and I didn't necessarily make it themey. But I will tell you that a colleague of mine, Ashley Duggar, who owns Acre, they got together and they took their photos for the whole year at the beginning of the year. So they changed clothes, they had a Christmas outfit, and they have this and all that. So that's one way they planned in advance for taking all that. Another thing that we did, again, in the spirit of planning your marketing in advance was, even if you just took a picture that you were holding a dry erase board or a chalkboard and had some balloons, you could write in there something different, right, on Canva or Photoshop, like happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy home-iversary, right, things like that. Other things that we did consistently, that again, I was looking at low-cost, consistent ways to touch people was birthdays, anniversaries, for more home anniversaries, closing or buying or selling a home. And they would get a phone call and then get a letter or a postcard. Questions? Yes?
Could you expand on your photo booth with your pet?
Yes.
How you did that?
Yes. So brought in a photographer, set up a little staging area. It's a bit of madness with all the pets. And I like to do it when the weather's nice and you can do it outdoors. And maybe if you wanted to sponsor one of the events and ask if you could do that, or bring a photographer and do that at an event. But bringing people in, inviting them. I didn't have props or anything. I told them to, fluff your dog and bring them in, and then we just did photos, and then we sent the photos, and then we leveraged that into social media of again, giving the invitation, marketing in advance of what we're doing, and then leveraging the experience on social media again as a thanks.
And so you printed pictures, or you sent them to your phone? How did you?
We didn't print pictures, we emailed.
You emailed them?
Remember that? The same way we used to use a single email.
Email.
We used to email things. Now, of course, people pretty much want it in text. But another nice step would have been printing them out. You can do that very affordably, and it's a mental touch. I had a hard time getting behind mailing, because for me, it just felt like a bear, and doing my database and the stamps and the address labels and all that. Like, I just knew for me, that was a struggle. For you, if it's not, and that's comfortable for you, then do that. But what I would encourage is just pick something and just do it consistently. That's the key. And if it's a place that you feel blockage around, put it in the calendar and then put a place in advance that you prepare for it, so that when it gets there, you're ready. If you have block around all this, start planning a client party. Just take this document and write yours out and have the newsletter of what week you're going to send it and what day and time. So this just says week 3. But in the Google Calendar, it says the Thursday at 2 o'clock that this goes out. Tuesday, it says proof the content. The week prior, it says create the content. You got to get that nuclear with it, otherwise, that closing and that buyer is going to side rail your whole plan. That's what happens, right? Mm-hmm. You're either busy being busy or busy trying to get busy. And so somewhere in there you have to be able to put controls where you can do the things that are going to give you the results. All these things you have to understand. This is 15 years build-up, okay? Year 1 was like, be friendly and just try to meet people as much as possible. Hang in a bar, right? My computer says, I ordered bumper sticker that says, I sell Nashville real estate. Sit at a coffee shop every time.
What does it say underneath that?
It says my website.
Where'd you order that from?
www.sticker.com. Yeah, everything kind of came from Google or asking other people, right? So stickers became easy T-shirts, that was a little more worrisome. But I struggled because to me you could get a T-shirt made for a really nice V-neck T-shirt that's super soft that people love. Because that was my thing. Like, I don't like T-shirts really, but this sucker is so soft and awesome. People just dig it. But that gets challenging with multiple sizes. It can be a big expense. So I'd be cautious that the Boozies were the hit. Where did you get Boozies? I think we were at Boozies.com or something like that. I saw it at a bar downtown, and I was like, this is ridiculously appropriate. It was an artist that had her name on the boot koozie. So, yes, other questions? What things have you seen or done? I'd love to hear any other ideas. You may not be doing them, but you go, damn it, that's a great idea, and I wish I did that. Yes?
I did a client appreciation in a public park over in Madison, and so there was no cost involved.
Love it.
Picked it in the fall, beautiful day,
Yep.
and hired a photographer and invited my clients and said, hey, come take your picture for your Christmas cards. You know?
Right.
And people showed up, and I have a friend that has an Italian restaurant that did kind of a Mediterranean picnic spread.
Yeah.
Everybody just had a fun time.
I love that.
So
And so affordable.
yeah, it was. It wasn't expensive at all.
I love leveraging the piece and getting other people involved. And sometimes that can feel like hard to ask, but other small businesses are looking for ways to network and connect as well. So whoever you're using or need relationship with or help, photographers, social media people, newsletter, bumper sticker people, whatever it is, I would always ask, what type of business are you in? Oh, I'm in sales. Oh, what type of sales do you do? I've sold real estate, but I'm always interested in what people do, where they live. Like, to me, that was just almost about the conversation starter.
And I was just going to add is my biggest expense possibly could be location. So I just kind of was like, God, rooms and free space. And I actually did it at where the Tennessee Historical Commission is. And all around it is really park-like setting. And nobody ever goes over there and uses it. And it's public land.
And where is this?
It's in Donaldson, right off 11 Road, next to the school for Vermont.
Love it.
It's right off the green. They have a wonderful walking path. I went into the office and I said, what do I need to do I need to book this? Yeah, and she just looks at me. She goes, show up. Don't trash it. Pick up all your garbage, and we don't care. Oh.
I love that.
And people take their wedding pictures over there because it's a beautiful setting. But
Yeah.
it's hardly ever gets used when there's little jewels like that around town. They're public property that we as taxpayers can use.
Right.
As long as they're used.
Yep.
So,
And again, it's about the invitation, but I love leveraging creative ways to do this on a dime. And I think that clients appreciate the creativity and ingenuity to do something different. There's agents that go down to these fancy places and spend all this money, but I get creative in new ways. Yes?
I went to a client appreciation party that I thought was pretty phenomenal. And it was not cheap, as I could tell, but it was hosted at Thistle Farms. And, they've got the space there, and you can order the food, and it's lovely decorations with everything there, and then it's got a great story that, you're spending money, but it's going to a great organization, and then the pretty amazing person who ran it arranged for a discount in the store, so people were shopping there, buying, so it really benefited Thistle Farms, and it was a beautiful event.
And no cost for that space. I got tired of doing it at Sambuca. It was great, it was cool, then the goals were doing too much, and really it spoke so much more to me to do it at Thistle Farms and what they do. So, charity tie-ins are a beautiful way too, and again, to honor and get people into their experience also. Thank you for reminding me of that. All right, I'm happy to answer questions. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it so much.